Hello and welcome everyone to our final session for day one of our AppSmash Fest. And I'm really excited to partner up here with my man Max. And Max is from Microsoft. Max, you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody here what you do at Microsoft?
Yeah, hey Ryan, thanks for having me, everybody. My name is Max. I'm a product manager at Microsoft working on our education team. If you didn't know, we have a dedicated team working on education products at Microsoft. I work on things in Teams, things in Office, and things in Windows, all sorts of fun stuff that we do to bring kind of the education value, help students thrive, help educators reach their learners in better ways. Super excited to partner with Wakelet. We've been working on some awesome stuff the past few years that we can show you guys how it works, some hidden tips and tricks on how to kind of bring the best of both worlds together, all the awesome things in Wakelet together with all the productivity in M365.
Awesome. And I'm really excited to have you here. Like I said, sharing that Wakelet love, sharing the Microsoft love, because those two products do work so well together with what it is that we're trying to explore. So for those of you who may be new to the Microsoft and Wakelet world, we're really proud to showcase some cool examples today about tying these two products together. But just a real quick intro of what Wakelet is and what it can do for you in that education setting. Just a reminder that Wakelet, it helps you share learning resources, items, examples, just all of those web links that you want to share across the web. You can collaborate, you can improve student outcomes, all under one roof. Probably can share their incomes as well, right? We like to partner up with so many EdTech tools. And again, I love the fact that we partner with so many tools because it brings that power of all of those materials, resources from anywhere, all together under one umbrella, and that umbrella being Wakelet, where we can really supercharge the educational experience for our students. And when we talk about why Wakelet, it's that ability to just enhance that curriculum delivery. Wakelet can fade to the background, but the content takes center stage, regardless of what platform it is that you're utilizing. Helpful, meaningful, collaborative experiences for students and teachers, being able to get some learning and really facilitate some impactful education that allows students to become empowered to eventually create a digital portfolio that allows them to showcase that they are, of course, more than just a test score, and bring that all together again under the Wakelet umbrella. So Max, I know Max got some really great examples and some things to showcase. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Max, to show us some of that Microsoft greatness that I know you guys have been working on over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to keep slides and blabbing to a minimum and actually show you guys some really cool things to use. I promise I only have like one core intro thing, and that's just to, what do we do here at Microsoft? Well, our mission statement is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Organization, people, includes everybody here. When we apply that to education, that's really helping every learner and every educator achieve more. And so we want to help you, whatever you use, wherever you are. So I'm going to show you a few different things that you can take advantage of, starting with things that are deep into the Microsoft ecosystem and then kind of stepping further out and all the way into, hey, I don't use anything Microsoft Max. Like, I just use Wakelet. Like, what can I use in Wakelet? And I got something at the end for you as well. So let's jump right on in and talk about Teams for Education, which is our kind of superhero. It's our star of the show for our education suite within Microsoft. It's a great place for you to be able to organize things, to be able to assign out assignments, to communicate with your classroom. Really, all-in-one tool and suite. And we're really, really into making sure that you can integrate that and connect that with whatever apps you want to use, including, of course, Wakelet. So we have a Wakelet app in Teams, which really allows you to take any of your collections, as long as they're accessible, of course, and easily share them into Teams. You can add Wakelet to a channel in Teams or as a tab to help students learn together and share materials out. You can pin a Wakelet collection somewhere in Teams to help people discuss it. You can share it, and you can even integrate it with Microsoft Teams assignments. So let's show you what that looks like. I am going to open up my Teams environment here. So here we are in a class team. If you've never seen this before, this is just kind of our environment. Everything you're seeing on the screen is for one group of students to use with an educator. If you're using Wakelet outside of education, we have teams that are not education style as well that are very similar to this that you can use. So let's start with things that can be used, any type of team you've got. We're going to jump into one of our channels here. Let's jump into the Introduction to Chemistry channel. And what you can see here is I've got a lot of posts that I've made. I've got some tabs at the top. And we're going to actually add a Wakelet collection as a tab at the top. So what we can do, let's go out of our intro. Let's go into our fun stuff channel, the one that I've got for my students to have more general stuff to share. And I'm going to click this little add a tab button. And in there, you're going to see a bunch of different applications that you can use. And first and foremost, number one in my list right now is Wakelet. So I tap on Wakelet. And you're going to see that you're being asked to enter a public Wakelet URL. So let's take the one for today's session right now. So let's go into here. Let's grab the Wakelet URL. And let's go back to Teams and paste that right on in. Green check mark, we're ready to go. I'm going to hit save. And now Wakelet is embedded, ready to go in Teams. And it's even made a post for me already so that people know that it's ready to go in this channel. I can go ahead and I can add a little bit more context to that of check out the resources for today's session, everyone. We'll send that out. So this is a fully functional tab at this point. It's just like the full Wakelet interface that you're used to using. It's just a little bit more streamlined, specific to this individual collection. Really simple, easy to use at this point.
This is fantastic. And Max, a point of clarity too, just to make sure people know when they attach and they click that button to attach the Wakelet to this, it's the URL, not the share link, right? Because that's always been a point of confusion. They ask like, I can't see it doesn't seem to work, but it's just the URL for the link.
But remember that share link. We're going to come back to that one. And that's a fantastic clarification. So this is adding Wakelet to a channel for anybody to be able to reference at any point. But let's say you're in the education industry, you're teaching, and you want a Wakelet collection to be used by your students in reference for an assignment you're assigning out. Well, let's go into Teams assignments and take a look at that. I'm going to tell my students that I want you to watch the, report on Wakelet Microsoft webinar. Let's say watch the Wakelet Microsoft session and do a 2-paragraph write-up on your thoughts and what they could do next.
I like that.
Together. Now, I got to take this opportunity to hit one of my fun AI buttons to automatically enhance this. Totally free feature for anybody who's using Teams assignments to, just kind of spruce up your assignments, take a single sentence and actually, whoop, I've got a full assignment now ready to go. But what we're here to show is this fun apps button. I click on apps and we're going to see apps that can be directly integrated into assignments. We'll click on Wakelet again. I believe I still have that in my clipboard. We'll paste in that URL again. We may have, there it is. Now you can see at the bottom, digital learning made easy, build powerful learner experiences, all ready to go. I go ahead and hit assign. Let's click on our student view before we do that though, just to see what it's going to look like as a student. When my students go to do this assignment, they'll see our full instructions. They'll see the reference materials. They'll be able to open this Wakelet, which will open right inside of Microsoft Teams. Again, very similar, but now we know it's reference for our assignment as a student.
Quick and easy for them. There's no confusion about where to go. They're not looking for the link, right? Trying to find it from a couple weeks back.
Exactly. So those are our Wakelet, like super direct integrations if you are starting from within Teams. But what if you are in Wakelet and you've got an awesome collection? You found something from all the public Wakelets. You're like, okay, this is a fantastic resource. I want to share it with some colleagues or students or anybody I'm working with. Or you put a bunch of time into one of your own collections and you want to share it out. Either way. Well, maybe you've noticed it, maybe you haven't. When you hit that share link in Wakelet, there's a little Microsoft Teams button. Let's go explore what that does. So we're going to go back into our Wakelet here, and we will click on Share, and we will click on the Teams button. This is using our Share to Teams functionality right now. What this is going to do is it's going to load up as long as you're signed in, and I do have to always disclaim that I'm using a demo environment here while I'm logged into another account. So sometimes I can get a few things that pop up. And if you are using an education account, you will get two options. You'll be able to share this as a link to a person, group, or a channel, or you'll be able to create a Teams assignment right here, right now, all from within the same interface with that Wakelet. So you don't have to go to Teams and then find Wakelet. If you're already in Wakelet, you can do everything we just showed starting from here. So let's just, for example, go and share this into our Introduction to Chemistry channel. That looks like a great default post. I love it. Let's hit share. We're going to go back to Teams. We're going to click on Introduction to Chemistry. There is the post we just made. And just as simply, we will show clicking on Teams again, clicking on Create an Assignment. We'll choose that same class we've been using here. Just going to give it a quick refresh. Well, demo environment happens to the best of us. What we would see here, and I know works for educators all the time, is choosing the class team, choosing entering assignment and sending it out.
Excellent time saver for them, right? They don't have to just go and be in two places, have two browser tabs. They can work from whichever option works well for them. If they're already in Teams, they can just go ahead and pull in their Wakelet. If they're already inside of Wakelet, they can go ahead and pull in their Teams. Excellent cohesion between the two platforms.
Exactly.
What do you got next for us, Max?
Next up, we've got OneNote. So we're taking a step out. We know a lot of you use Teams EDU for your assignments and for everything else, but we know even more of you use OneNote with your classrooms. We know OneNote is integrated into all sorts of learning management systems. It's being used by people for personal note-taking across the world extremely commonly, myself included. It's a great thing to use. Something that OneNote does really well is displaying content besides just text, besides just images, actual embedded content. And what you can do is you can actually take your Wakelet collections and bring them into OneNote as embeds. And I want to call out, this actually happened a few years ago, Brian. I don't even know if you know this, from a tweet, a simple tweet of an educator asking us to do this with Wakelet. So we paired up, we made this happen in, I think it was a couple weeks flat, and we had a OneNote integration ready to go. So let's show what that looks like.
Yeah, that's perfect, because someone just asked that. How can I place that by embedding it right into OneNote? They want to see it.
Now you can launch OneNote in one of about 20 different ways because we want to make it nice and easy for you. I'm just going to click on my class notebook here inside of Teams because we're already there. I am going to bring this out into its own browser tab to make this nice and big and easy for us to use.
There we go.
All right, so let's open up our notebook. Might be having a little bit of browser issues.
happens.
Ryan, while I work through that, did you want to show the edge
Extension.
tab?
Yeah. So while you work through that, I'll swap over real fast. Let me switch these things. So what we're going to talk about is Wakelet's new and improved. We announced this during Community Week. Was the ability of bringing back to life and reviving and kind of integrating new features into our Wakelet extension. And we released that Wakelet extension for Chrome as well as for Microsoft Edge. And so for those of you who haven't seen this yet in action or haven't had the chance to put it into play yet, you can go anywhere on the web that you're currently looking for, and instead of copy and pasting your links and bringing them into a Wakelet collection, when you have that Wakelet extension ready to go, I can click on the little Wakelet extension, and immediately, if I'm looking for the best chocolate chip cookie recipes ever and I'm curating them into a single collection, I click that Wakelet extension and I can just drop that into either a new collection, I can add it to my bookmarks, or I can put it into an existing collection. And I love the fact that if I say, okay, let's mix my chocolate chip cookies with the best coffee locations ever, if I pop that in here, I get a little preview of the collection if I want to. Or if I want to just go ahead and drop that in, I can use the one with an arrow. And what's super cool is I get to actually edit the card before I have to worry about, changing things later. That wasn't how it used to be. It would copy the link in. Then inside of Wakelet, I'd have to click the 3 dots and edit. But now I can go through and pick which image of the images that are already on the website that I want to use as the cover image. I can edit the title and the description before I even click save to put it into a collection. And that's great because it's really great and flexible, especially as a teacher who's looking for different resources and materials on a topic. You've already got a collection made. You can just, boom, put it right into your collection. But we wanted to go a step further. So now we've even added that maybe you don't just want the hyperlink. Maybe we want to use just some text from the page. So allow me just to come down here and maybe I just want to steal a little line of text. And if I highlight something, this box over here dynamically shifts to showcase what it is that I have highlighted at different parts. So if I just want a certain little piece of text, best chocolate chip cookie recipe ever, I can do the same thing. I can still add just a text box to a collection or item. And again, that wasn't far enough, so we decided to go even further. What if I decided that I didn't want just to be able to pull in the actual whole website or just some text pieces? What if I just want a snapshot? What if I just want that picture? So now I can actually just take a screenshot of what I want and pop that directly in. So it tells me the image card, it's been taken, tells me the pixel size. If I want to retake it, I can click here. So if not, I can now take a different way. It's a different way of bringing in all of your content, links, text, pictures, all from a single spot, and all of your materials are available for you here from that extension. So that extension is going to be as part of one of our resources inside of the link. So we're happy to have that in the resource collection. You can go ahead and download that for free later on today. All right, Max, how's the technical difficulties going? Is it still? Is it still working through?
And I was on mute. I'm back, everybody. Thanks for taking over, Ryan. And
yeah.
Edge extensions are super awesome. If you haven't given Edge a try, do give it a shot. I know everybody's a little stuck in their browser ways sometimes, but even I myself have to admit that Edge has proven pretty awesome for me. So we are in our OneNote finally, which normally loads great when you're not sharing your screen 6 different ways. Here we are in our OneNote notebook. This happens to be a class notebook. This could be a personal notebook. It could be any OneNote, no matter what. You could be on your iPad. You could be on your Windows device. You could be in Edge like you are here. Doesn't matter. Let's go and let's take that link to our wonderful AppSmash Festival collection. And let's just take this OneNote page here. And let's say I wanted to share this in the context of a bunch of my other notes. Maybe I'm taking some notes on today's session. Maybe I'm sharing this out with some other people. Doesn't matter. Literally all you have to do, I'm even going to hit the paste button visibly so everybody sees I'm not doing something special. I'm going to hit paste. There we go. we got an embedded Wakelet. You don't have to do a single thing. Again, take the URL, don't go to the share link. The share link is for directly sharing. But you paste that in and you've got a fully embedded Wakelet again. So you can have an embedded Wakelet from Teams by doing a full integration and choosing that Wakelet app. You can have an embedded Wakelet by being in Wakelet, clicking that share button, clicking Teams. You can have an embedded Wakelet by taking that URL and throwing it into OneNote. You can even create your Wakelet from Edge. So lots of cool Microsoft integrations. But I'm going to show you. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to ask one question. We had a question in the chat about embedding it, and that's perfect. So you answered that. Copy and paste the URL, not the share link. Again, because we told you it comes back. It's cyclical, right? But they wanted to know, and I wanted to know, just to clarify too, does that work across all versions of OneNote? Knowing that it's desktop, online?
Yeah, it should work across all versions of OneNote.
Perfect. So those of you who are OneNote users and asking that question, copy paste URL link, not share link, and that should embed that directly in no matter what version of OneNote you're using.
Let us know if you're seeing something different. So we want to show one final Microsoft integration, which is kind of a sneaky hidden integration. It doesn't have the Microsoft name on it anywhere, and we're totally good with that. I don't know if anybody here has heard of the name Immersive Reader, but Immersive Reader is a technology from built by Microsoft, maintained by my team actually, that really helps people of all abilities to read text. And this is something that is really core to who we are as a company, of including people no matter who they are. We want to include people whether they are neurodiverse, whether they have a learning disability, whether they simply just have a preference to read content differently than somebody else. And so what we've done is we've built this Immersive Reader product, which is built into all of our products across Microsoft 365 and Windows. And we've made it available to our partners like Wakelet and even some of the other ed tech tools that you might use out there, so that any text anywhere is readable in different ways. And I want to show you what it looks like. So let's pop open our browser window again. And we're going to find a decently text-heavy, this is a decently text-heavy component of our Wakelet. And we click on the three dots there, and you see Immersive Reader. That's the icon you're looking for. And what it has done for us here is it's taken the text and it's actually broken it into a way that's easier for us to see. Now, this is the default view, but there's lots of different things I can do in Immersive Reader. Let's start with text preferences. You can change the text size in whatever way works best for you. If you want to be able to see a lot on the screen at once, or practice your eyesight for that matter, you can go all the way down to the bottom. If maybe you're have a little bit of vision difficulties or an earlier learner, you can really increase that text size to make it easier. You've also have the ability to change your spacing. So by default, we're going to increase that spacing for you, but you can turn that on or off. Now, I'm not talking about line spacing, although that is a component of it. I'm talking about literal character spacing to help you separate the letters in the words and numbers and syllables and punctuation marks and everything to make it a little bit easier to comprehend and read. Beyond that, fonts. Everybody reads in different ways. Everybody comprehends in different ways. Even earlier learners, as funny as it may seem to us as adults to see Comic Sans here, this is a friendlier way for earlier learners to comprehend content. Different colors for different vision difficulties and preferences. Even the ability to take off source formatting to make things even more streamlined for you. Other things in here, we've got the ability to see different grammar options. I can actually turn on syllables so that I can see individual syllables and highlight the different parts of speech if I want to do a little bit more learning while I'm here. Finally, you have things like line focus that will actually allow you to focus on individual lines one at a time, where this might help with a little bit more neurodiversity and different learning styles, where we need to focus on individual lines or groups of lines all at once. So a lot of different options there to really help you be able to consume text-based content in a way that makes sense for you. Again, look for that Immersive Reader icon anywhere you are across the internet, but especially in Wakelet, and you're going to see it. You're going to be able to use that to help just focus on the text.
And it's one of the best things I do inside of a Wakelet collection. If I know I'm presenting or sharing, I always kind of use the text boxes as a way of me narrating my collection when I'm not there. Right. So when I send a collection and I say like, okay, it's great. Let me take the resources and I send it out to an audience. Even like today, after today's resources, I put more text in there, knowing that somebody could go back to this collection tonight, tomorrow, 5 weeks from now, and they're going to be able to look at the content in the way that they need to. Line spacing, highlighting, like you said, a different font, just having it read back and forth in a male or female voice, being able to appreciate the different traumas that people can have, speed it up, slow it down, the translation piece, and looking at the picture dictionary, right? Being able to highlight the words inside, and just seeing that as well so that they can see all of that. To me, it is one of the most amazing features of Microsoft and Wakelet together, to bring those two things together, so that anywhere, anytime, any place, those features are built in for those viewers.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. That is awesome. And Ryan pointed out a few things I didn't even get to, like the picture dictionary, where we can actually see some basic pictures with basic language and wording. You're not going to see it for everything, of course, but you'll see it for most common words that learners are working their way through. I don't think we're going to see anything for AppSmash, for example. We'll work on that.
They can see it, and they can hear it, right? They can hear it too. It'll read it, right? There's a little box inside the window to give them the speech, the pronunciation. And I think if you do it with the translation feature on, doesn't it not show you in English and the other language that you chose?
It does.
Yeah, so you can bounce back and forth.
So I don't believe I even shared my system audio, but we can actually listen to it read aloud, as Ryan was talking about, and we can change things like our voice settings to a comfortable voice, speed, and tone. And yeah, translation. Well, Immersive Reader is not a language learning tool necessarily. It does help you with seeing things in different languages. Let's just go ahead and turn this to Dutch. And we can do that individually by word or the entire document. So I can click on an individual word. Well, those are not great ones, but here we go. And see that word translated and even hear that word translated. Or if you want the entire document translated, you can do that in that same area.
I think it's super powerful to see it back and forth, right? The ability for, if you're a language learner or you're someone who's working in a different location at the time, you could have things brought in, translated for you, still look at it in your own language and make those connections lasting to help you get through that assignment. Super powerful stuff.
Yeah. So I know we're kind of wrapping up on our time. I want to stress that as we showed, highlighted throughout, you've got all the resources we talked about today in this Wakelet collection, of course, and different ways that you can kind of bring these things together. Just to kind of recap what we talked about, though. We talked about, in reverse order, most recently the Immersive Reader. We talked about, in between there, Ryan gave us a great demo of using the Edge extension to build your own collections. We talked about embedding Wakelet into OneNote. We talked about sharing to Teams from Wakelet. And the ability to use the dedicated Wakelet app in Teams. And just because, I know sometimes people get caught up on what do I have access to, or what do I not? Teams is something that you do need to own a license to. We do, if you're in the education industry, we provide that for free. Talk to your IT administrator or school leaders if you don't have access to it. But OneNote, there is a free version of OneNote that anybody can go use. Just head over to onenote.com. You can use a personal account to get going with that right away. An Immersive Reader is provided to you as part of Wakelet at absolutely no cost from Microsoft and Wakelet.
Awesome. And Max, before we let you go, we've got one more question that I wanted to come back to that I had kind of starred for later on. Any advice for those who are looking at getting Wakelet and Microsoft to kind of talk to one another? Are there any steps they need to do to talk to their district, their school, their organization? Or is it as simple as easy as just going in and activating Wakelet inside of Teams?
It should be as simple as activating Wakelet inside of Teams. Teams specifically, there is a full admin center, which I don't want to bore anyone with here right now, but it is possible that your IT staff or school leaders have turned off apps within Teams. In that case, what you should still see is Wakelet when you go to look for the apps, but you will see this has been turned off, request access button. Now, your IT administrators may not be paying attention to those requests, so you want to go talk to them. It's very simple for them to go approve that or enable it.
Perfect. I know as someone who's worked, prior to joining Wakelet, working with districts and supporting them, that was one of the things we always like to do, is just make sure that they were well aware that you may have to talk to somebody different in a different location in your team and organization, just to make sure that everything works out smoothly.
Yeah, I will say that I am on all the socials at Max A. Fritz. Feel free to find me, and I'm happy to help you with if you got stuck or you have follow-up questions.
Awesome. Well, Max, this has been a blast. It really has. Again, we really cherish that partnership between Microsoft and Wakelet, and again, empowering every student, every user, no matter where they are, is near and dear to our heart. So thank you for coming on and sharing all of those neat tips and tricks. And for everyone, thank you for spending your time, your afternoon, your morning, your evening, wherever you are. Thank you for spending your time with us. Your certificate link, I believe, and the collection link, everything has been shared into the chat. That certificate link will have the certificates, if you fill it out, the resource collections, and then you're also going to be able to be entered for some prize draws, which are really cool. Some interesting things in there that you could possibly win being entered. And just a reminder that just because this session is over, the AppSmash Fest continues tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time here on the East Coast for me. We're going to be kicking off with Tisha and Genially. So that session will get kicked off tomorrow. Please register if you haven't. The link just got dropped in there. Max, again, thank you very much. And thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having me.